and probably one of the hardest workers here at the conference. We're joined now with Deputy Director of the National Hurricane Center. That's Jamie Rhome. And so one of the newest things we've been talking about is, the experimental forecast cone. So tell us a little bit about what that is and what we can expect when it comes to forecasts in the future.
Yeah, so we've been experimenting with the cone over the last couple of years, and your viewers and many others wrote us to tell us what they thought. Tons and tons of feedback, almost all of it positive. So based off that, we decided to go ahead and make those changes permanent, what we call operational. That is now the cone. And that opened up a slot or a lane, if you will, to begin a new experiment. So we'll have a new experimental cone starting this hurricane season.
And what exactly is that new experimental cone?
So the old cone was based off 67% certainty. So if you try to think of the words one would use when you're 67% certain, it would be like potential or possible or not strong words. The new cone is based off 90% certainty. So it's much stronger, much clearer, much more easy to understand message.
Yeah, and just being a meteorologist, following y'all's forecasts and using them for our own forecast as well, we've seen that the accuracy has improved over time. And so what kind of do you credit for that?
Well, we're kind of the product of our own success. So as our forecast got better and better and better, the old cone got smaller and smaller and smaller, which made it harder and harder to message and harder to interpret. So the new cone tries to fix that without a substantial change by making these small tweaks that we just talked about that would give it that greater accuracy that is more commensurate with the improvements that you've seen in forecasting over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and the forecast cone isn't the whole story, right? Another big thing we talked about, storm surge, which can happen well outside of the cone. What are some important things you want people to know about that factor heading into hurricane season?
Yeah, so storm surge is one of these tricky elements that people think they understand, or they try to distill it down to a single number, or make it kind of the easy button, if you will. And it really is like real estate: location, location, location. So we got to get people to sort of drill down and understand the risk at their house or their street or their community. And the cone can't tell you that, and the Saffir-Simpson scale can't tell you that.
Yeah, and any final words, for Texas especially, heading into hurricane season?
You're going to hear a lot of news about a potential El Nino. And everyone, when they hear El Nino, they're like, we're off the hook. I'm here to tell you, you're not off the hook. There's lots of uncertainty in that forecast. And what people don't know is storms that do form in an El Nino year tend to form close to land.
Yeah, so always be aware, and it only takes one. Yeah. That's something to always remember heading into hurricane season. Thank you so much for your time and all of your insight throughout this conference, and we really appreciate it. We'll have more on that hurricane forecast with El Nino with Philip Klotzbach coming up later at 6 o'clock.